Welcome to part 7 of my presentation on the Humble Project Management Toolkit for better results in an uncertain world, in which I talk about compartment B. B is for bring in diverse perspectives. Nobody knows everything and everybody knows something, and even if this cliché was not true, no project manager could get very far if they did not involve others and take their perspectives into account. In the words of the African proverb, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. You should identify and involve partners at all stages as far as possible. However, you may not be able to directly discuss things with all those you hope to influence for a whole variety of reasons. In some projects, such as those that aim to tackle corruption, increase transparency, or reform legislation, there may be distrust and hostility between the project team and those they seek to influence. However, even in such circumstances, it's still possible to make at least an effort to understand the perspectives of these groups. It is also very valuable to understand the diverse perspectives of those in the project implementation team, all of whom will have a unique experience and viewpoints which, if heard, may help to enhance the success of the project. It is important, though not always easy, to encourage critical thinking in your team. People tend to be deferential towards hierarchy. An example of this relates to Alfred Sloan, longtime CEO and chairman of General Motors, who once interrupted a committee meeting to ask the question, "Gentlemen, I take it we are all in complete agreement on the decision here." All the committee members nodded. In response, Sloan said, "Then I propose we postpone further discussion on this matter until our next meeting, to give ourselves time to develop disagreement and perhaps understand what this decision is all about." One way to help bring in diverse perspectives so that people can disagree without being disagreeable, and to represent perspectives of those who are not present in the meeting, is the 6 thinking hats technique developed by Edward de Bono, he of lateral thinking fame. The 6 thinking hats technique encourages critical thinking in your team by helping them to toggle between a range of perspectives. In a meeting, the 6 differently coloured thinking hats are shared among the team, or all members of the team use a single hat in turn. Each hat corresponds to a certain way of thinking. The white hat is associated with logic, data and information, to identify what information is available and what further information is needed. The red hat is associated with feeling, intuition and emotion, which are important factors in decision making, but ones that are often marginalized in Western culture, which tends to value rationality above emotion. The yellow hat represents the optimistic or sunny viewpoint on the issue in hand. In the language of bookending, those wearing the yellow hat are focused towards the upper bookend. The black hat is the inverse and relates to critical judgment, and is focused towards the lower bookend. The green hat is for creative thinking and generation of new ideas. And the blue hat is about process, and is used for summarizing, concluding and decision making. Another way of bringing in diverse perspectives is to use reference class forecasting, which involves finding out about the experience of others who have worked in similar types of projects, so that the group can learn from these experiences. Although reference class forecasting seems like a no-brainer, it is seldom carried out very thoroughly. As far as I know, it was not carried out very thoroughly for Wembley Stadium, Concorde, or the Sydney Opera House, the 3 mega projects that featured in part 2 in my project planning fallacy Hall of Shame. Even those who should know a lot better have admitted to blind spots when it comes to reference class forecasting, with the idea that they will always be the exceptions to the rule. In his book, Thinking Fast and Slow, Daniel Kahneman recounts an anecdote about a team he assembled in Israel to develop a high school curriculum and an accompanying textbook on judgment and decision making. About 1 year into their work, Kahneman realized that the team had failed to look at the base rates of those who had developed similar projects before. So he asked the dean of the Hebrew University School of Education, who was the team member with the most experience of other similar projects, about how long the process took in comparable circumstances. The dean's reply was disconcerting. He stated that about 40% of such projects were never actually completed, and those that were took at least 7 years. The team had estimated that it would take them from about 1.5 to 2.5 years to complete the process, and they had never contemplated failure at all. But perhaps they could be faster than average if they were more able than average, so the dean was asked how this group compared to the others. He thought for a while. Below average was his response, but not by much. The committee considered this information for a while, and then proceeded to ignore it and return to their old estimates as if nothing had happened. As things turned out, the textbook took 9 years to develop, and it was never actually used. In the next and final part, I introduced the 2 remaining compartments in the Humble Project Management Toolkit. learn constantly, and embrace uncertainty. See you soon.